Hi, so this is effectively day 5 of the process. So like day 1 would be Monday and the slab rolling. Day 2 might be Tuesday or Wednesday, which is marking and cutting out. So the Friday is day 3 and that would be joining. And then the following Wednesday would be, when it's going drier, that would be kind of finishing details, adding shutters and things like this, and frames around. It's still what we say green, not dry. So that would be day 4. And then day 5 is literally 2 weeks after rolling the slab. So it would be Monday again. I mean, this is how I used to run workshops. And it worked. The timing was about right. So this is day 5, and this is where it's completely dry. And as you'll see, it's gone very light grey, gone white. And the curious thing, well, the scary thing is that it's definitely its most fragile now. I mean, a way of thinking of it is that its clay is sort of mud water mix. And this is when most of the water's gone, so that it's kind of dust almost. And talking of dust, this is when you rub it down, you smooth it down and colour it before biscuit firing. So day 5 is actually biscuit firing day. And it's ready to biscuit fire now because it's completely dry, or as dry as it's going to be. And first thing you do is smooth it down using this as, I mean, in Slovenia they call it Scotch Brite. It's like Brillo pad. It's actually not that easy to find, just the basic green nylon stuff. This is perfect for it. And all you have to be a bit nervous about is that it produces dust, a fine dust, which is silicon, which is definitely not good for you. When I was doing pottery evening classes off the Old Cape Road, the woman showing us how to do this strongly suggested wearing a mask to do this, because it really isn't very good for you. But I'd suggest that if you're not doing it very often, I mean, if you were doing pottery every day and producing lots and lots of stuff, or working in a factory or something, then yes, of course. But if it's you know, once a month or not even that, then not a good idea, or it's not necessary, I would say. Now the edges are quite sharp, so I'm smoothing them down and just lightly rubbing over the edges. Now you do have to be very careful with things like that chimney. It doesn't matter that it gets dusty, in fact that's a good thing, because it helps the colour adhere. And I just go very lightly over this because it could detach bits you've stuck on, like the shutters. This is also a good time to be absolutely sure that it's sitting and standing flat. And just cleaning it up a bit more, making sure the hole's okay. I mean, this applies to pretty much everything. I mean, obviously this is a Paran house. Now, I really just drag this very lightly over the chimney, because it's extremely easy for it to break apart and knock off, just to sort of smooth the edges slightly. Right, you see these bits falling out. These are the windows that have fallen out. They pop out very easily, and they're completely dry, of course, so they can be reused. Right. That's that. Anyway, you've got to do that. Now that feels kind of wobbly, so what I do is use an offcut of this, actually I can't remember what the word is, Conti board? No. Aha. So that means it's high in that corner. And the other corner, although it doesn't look like that on the underside. Or these walls can be a bit curved. That's better. That's all it needed, just a little bit of smoothing down. Having cleaned off stuff, I'd prepared all these houses. Now, I'd like to say that this dust is extremely useful for making up slip and kind of a paste, or making slip colours which are more opaque. So I always keep it, don't throw it away. Always useful. Okay, so having smoothed them down with the Scotch-Brite, rub them down, a little bit dusty. Now the job is to put underglaze colours on before the biscuit firing. So what I have is, there's a huge range of colours really, but this is a kind of orangey yellow, mustard yellow, which I always used to use. I used that as the base colour for a lot of things for a long time. And but this one I'll do with that. Now I always have to mix it up. It comes as a powder, and you dilute it to taste, as it were. So it's if you don't put much water with it, it's very strong. If you put a lot of water, it's quite weak. Well, I'm lazy, I use a power drill now, but you can just stir it by hand. And these go on as, in a sense, as part of the bisque firing or whatever. So around here I've got to be a bit careful, because I want to do the shutters a different colour, which I'll show you. This is the basic colour. It kind of soaks into the clay. And I want to leave the window frames white. Now the interesting thing is that where I've made little score lines where I did originally marked out the windows, this helps this colour not to spread like that. So in a sense you don't have to be too careful. And then I shall do the door the same colour as the shutters. But this actually, the way it manifests itself, effectively this is what they call here aquarelle or watercolour kind of colour. It's a translucent colour. It's quite thin, the effect of it, not solid. And I mean, a lot of ceramics people, a lot of potters and people who build ceramics, they don't do any of this. They just fire it, bisque fire it, the white or the terracotta, whatever it is, and then use a coloured glaze. True, it's a lot easier. Right. Doing the chimney. Now, to get this quicker, that was the fiddly bit, so I'm going to use a bigger brush to do this. And I personally don't mind if it's the colour's a bit patchy, a bit uneven. That doesn't bother me very much. And if you're careful, even with a big brush, it's just the chimney. Now my trick is, this is the colour, and I'll show you when it comes out of a biscuit firing. This is part of it, and and then under the glaze firing, you can put another colour. And I'll give an example of that. What that second colour tends to do is highlight any texture, or like where I've got words pressed in here, because it sinks into the lower part. Because you put it on and then you wipe it off with a damp cloth. So that's that bit. Now, with more underglaze colour, I've got a kind of, well, for some reason I call it lilac, but in fact it's, I don't know whether it's violet, lilac, it's one of those colours. I do the roof with this. To be honest, you don't have to mix it up very thoroughly. Remembering from, I don't know, chemistry classes and stuff like that, this is technically a suspension because it's a powder that's just floating in the water. So if you don't mix it up, the powder slowly sinks to the bottom, and if you just stick the brush into the top, you get a very thin level of it. But if you go right down to the bottom, it's very thick, so you get very different coloration. So it's good to keep it mixed, but you can do that just with the brush. Now I'll just put this colour on the roof, on the chimney, and make sure I've got it all the way around. Okay, So now the last thing is, I mentioned with it keeping the dust to make up slip and to make more opaque colours. If I just get, I don't know, just for the sake of this we'll use blue. Now this is the same powder, same underglaze powder, pigment, whatever you call it, except it's mixed about 2 to 1 with the slip powder, so it's thicker. But it also, because the powder's white, it goes a little bit lighter. I find it's extra important to mix the slip colours up. I mean, coloured slip is actually, in a way, the more normal way of colouring things. I'm sure most people use coloured slip and not just the colour, not just the powder. Right, but I do it because it does come out more intense. More solid, not thin or watercolory. Now this is the advantage of when I put the shutters on, is that they're raised up, so it's a little bit easier to paint them separately. Now if you make a mistake, if you overdo this, you can just rub it off. It dries quite quickly and kind of sitting on the surface, so you can, if you are unlucky and you make a bit of a mess, you can always correct it. So that's alright. And that's as much as we'll do now. That's alright for biscuit firing. And then under the glaze firing there's another opportunity to add some kind of decoration.